have a bunch of different options. And you will see we have the classical box. If I click here, I will have a bar of properties. This will be the same across different operations we use. So different objects will have different settings. In the case of if we want to create a box, then we will need to click here, and you will see we can create a box by following these dimensions. You can change the dimensions here, and it will change the box dimensions here, the depth, the width, and the height. You can also change the subdivisions here, like you can go to 13. If I press Alt 2, I can check the wireframe, and I can increase or decrease how many subdivisions I want. Okay, and the reason this one is too small is because this guy is too big. So just be aware of that. Normally this is big enough. So another thing is like, notice that as I go along this mesh, my box snaps to the normals of this object. So this is very useful if you want to like continue to model some stuff along the normal. That depends on what you want to do. And the way you can change this is positioning align to normal, uncheck this, and you will be able to move without the normal restriction. It will always follow one axis. In this case, it's the z-axis. You can also target surface change to a scene, which is basically this. You will check which objects we have in our scene, and we will be able to create the object in different positions. Or we can go to the ground plane, and inside here, you will have an axis here, basically the grid, if you can almost see here. And it will always be along the grid, regardless of how many objects you encounter. So let's talk about how we can create these objects. Very easy. If I click on this, I already create one object. And when I click complete, you will see that I have a name here. Usually it's just a random number here. And if I click browse, you will see that it's in my level blueprint. And my levels, maps, I have this. I'm using this map modeling practice 02. And I will have this folder name _ generated with my username. And here you will see all my generated files I have used with the modeling tools. By default is this folder. However, you can change this folder by changing to current folder or AutoGen folder, which is the global, which is here in the content generated. This is the global one. You can also do that. But if you want your objects to be inside the level you create and kind of a little bit more organized, just feel free to use the default option, which is the word relative. Okay. So let's keep going. Between these shapes, we have a lot of them. We have the sphere. We have the sphere box, which has a little different topology. We have the cylinder, which is one of the most used ones, like the cube, the cylinder, the spheres. And we also have some other ones like the cone, the torus, the arrow, the rectangle, which is a plane, and a round rectangle, which is a rounded plane with some subdivisions. Then finally, you have the disk and then the circle. And this completes basically all the shapes you want to create.
We have a question from the stream.
Sure.
It says, does the object you're hovering over need to have a collision on for you to place something on it?
Well, let's take a look at it. This one has a collision, definitely. You can see it here. If I press Alt-C, you can see my collision. Let's remove it to see what happens. As far as I know, it should work without collision because it goes along the normals. So if I click a sphere, let's click a scene interface, even without a collision, it takes the normals in place, and you can check them here. By the way, if you want to cancel, just click escape and you will go back. Here in attributes, I can check the normals. Go tangents or inspect. You can check the normals. You can check the normals here, and also the tangents. Change the tangent size. So you will use these normals to place the objects. So let's go back. By the way, if you have just any questions, just let us know in the comments, and I will check from time to time. If not, Ron will check it for me. Okay, so let's delete those because we don't want to. Okay. So there are other ways to create primitive. Let me move this one here, and this is a very cool way to create primitive because this one can be a little bit how to say inconvenient. Like let's say you want to create like a wall, you may do this, things like that, and then you may want to model, and then you will scale things up,